Hello, callers. Welcome to Viva Barca and welcome to another interesting episode where we are going to be discussing on the latest developing stories. We start with this transfer news claiming that Barca are closely keeping tabs on this Manchester City duo Bernardo Silva and Ilkay Gundogan, of course, who are still the two biggest targets on the agenda. We are going to be discussing on that as we progress. Then, secondly, talking about Sergio Busquets, as it has been reported that the Barcelona captain will likely be offered a renewal with lower salary, and it has been reported that the veteran is also open to a 6-month deal as well. So, guys, before we get right into the full story, please do ensure to subscribe to the channel. If you haven't, turn on the post bell notification to always stay notified whenever I post a new video. Consider liking the video and please watch it right up to the very end. Barcelona are said to be extremely attentive to Manchester City's situation, with Mundo Deportivo saying that in case the team from the Premier League is forced to facilitate the departure of some players, a certain Bernardo Silva will become the most wanted equity for Barca. Barcelona's interest in Silva is the worst-kept secret, to say the very least. The team from Catalonia showed interest in the Portuguese during the last summer transfer window, but financial limitations forced the team to back out of a deal. Interestingly enough, if not for the troubled finances, the former Benfica man would have joined Barcelona as he was crazy to play for Barca, and even Pep Guardiola promised that he would not stand in the way of any player who would no longer want to leave. Given the cost of the entire operation, which was thought to be around 100 million euros, Barcelona decided not to pursue the Portuguese. As of today, however, Man City find themselves in deep trouble. The six-time Premier League winners were charged with breaking over 100 rules in relation to financial fair play over a 9-year period spanning 2009-10 to 2017-18. The citizens are liable for several punishments if found guilty, which include being expelled from the league, heavy points deduction, or a hefty fine. In these extreme cases, Man City would become a hunting ground for clubs across Europe, and Barcelona can then try to snatch Bernardo Silva for a relatively lower fee. Interestingly enough, Silva isn't the only City player that Barcelona have their eyes on. As it turns out, Ilkay Gundogan's contractual situation has made him an interesting candidate for Barcelona. The German ends his City contract at the end of the season, and as of now, there is no progress with regards to a possible extension. At 32 years of age, Gundogan is being looked at as someone who can help the growth of players like Pedri and Gavi. City are now in a deep mess, after charges that the Premier League made against them for financial fair play. So in case something really happens, something extreme happens, you can imagine the number of clubs that can start hunting down the players because the players might want to leave the club. Let's just consider the scenario where City are relegated from the Premier League. It's going to be something very serious. City, of course, have a lot of players that, as we all know, Barca have been showing interest in. So, Pep Guardiola have always known about that. Always say he doesn't want to step, you know, to block any player if the player is not happy to play anymore. Bernardo Silva was the most talked about last summer, and it seemed as though he could have joined Barca. The move was getting close, but what killed Barcelona was just the finances. If Barca were still that financially stable club, for sure Bernardo Silva could have been playing for Barca right now as we speak. But that was not meant to be, as the finances were not there. Barca had already pulled all the economic levers to sign other five quality players: Lewandowski, Rafinha, Koundé. All of them came with some heavy transfer fees, and there was no way Laporta could do otherwise to bring in Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva, however, haven't stopped to be linked to Barcelona up to this very day, as Barca still continue to show interest. He's a very talented player, But now that we have Frankie de Jong, I don't know how Xavi wants to, go ahead with the situation. Because now we're talking about Ilkay Gundogan, who is also a midfielder, can play Busquets role. And also talking about Bernardo Silva, who is an attacking midfielder. Barca continues to show interest in those two players. So let's see how it goes for both clubs or for Barcelona and their targets. Um, Actually, it's going to be very difficult because those two players, it won't be easy. Maybe Gundogan's own might be easy if he does not renew his contract with Man City, as he will be a free agent. But Bernardo Silva still has a long-term contract. Then on to the next story of discussion. According to Mundo Deportivo, Barcelona is set to offer a fresh contract offer for Sergio Busquets. The club's coaching staff is determined to keep hold of their midfielder, who is one of two club captains whose contract expire at the end of the season. Sergio Roberto is the other one, with the Spaniard already receiving a fresh one-year proposal, which he is set to agree upon. As for Busquets, Barcelona have been restricted by La Liga's economic framework. As such, they are expected to come up with a fresh offer, but with a lower salary package for Busquets, who is currently one of the highest earners in the first team. Busquets' decision depends on the scope of Barca's economic offer. The club are aware of the fact that they cannot compete with clubs such as Inter Miami or Al Nassr, who have reportedly offered the midfielder a whopping 18 million euro per year with full tax exemption. In order to convince the midfielder, Barcelona are willing to make provisions for a 6-month renewal for Busquets that will enable the player to quit Camp Nou at the start of 2024. This will allow the veteran to take part in the pre-season camp for Inter Miami, as every new edition of MLS usually starts in that period. The current edition of the MLS ends in October this year. The summer move to Inter Miami, therefore, would not make much of a sporting sense for Busquets, who decided to retire from international football following Spain's debacle at the 2022 FIFA World Cup. Busquets is currently spending time on the sidelines after picking up a knock in the win over Sevilla. He is expected to return during Barcelona's second leg Europa League tie against Manchester United later this month. So guys, with that we have come to an end of this episode. Thanks a lot for watching. Until next time, bye bye.